We'll see if the Devils can get off to a good start. The Carolina Hurricanes have scored 9, that's it, 9 first-period goals all season long. They've given up almost twice that many. Steve?
Well, Deb, Travis Zajac is one of just 5 Devils tonight who played in the last postseason game versus the Hurricanes. The turnover for each side has been pretty significant since the spring of 2009. First year as a division opponent. The Hurricanes have for years considered the Devils their biggest rivals because rivalries are formed largely in the playoffs. They've met in 4 playoff series since 2001.
But they've gotten 3 out of the last 4 points. They're playing some of their best hockey of the season. They got Cam Ward between the pipes. So talking to Kirk Muller, who we just saw, the coaching staff and the players, they say they feel like they're ready to get on a roll. And of course the Devils want to do the same thing, and we'll see how it all unfolds.
Cam Ward, Marty Brodeur stare at each other from 180 feet away. Patrick Elias, one of our featured players at the top, takes the opening draw against Jordan Staal, younger brother of Eric, and he won it back, and we're underway tonight at the Rock. Steve Bernier funnels this one ahead, and Justin Faulk will get the early plug in for a Minnesota Duluth guy. It's customary. Plays it into the Devils zone.
Thank you, Kens.
Devils unable to send it out of the zone. Bouncing puck. Yuri Talusti trying to control for Carolina, and it's taken instead by Adam Henrique. Sends Bernier on his way. Goes crashing into the Kane zone, and Jordan Staal, the outlet pass, goes all the way the length of the ice, and the faceoff will come back next to Cam Ward.
Well, ex-New Jersey Devil, Kirk Muller, the head coach in Carolina, was telling me before the game, Steve, they've had a lot of injuries, and maybe that's part of the reason, but they're right now in the midst of a 6-game road winless streak. They've gotten a couple points, but not nearly enough, and there you see, that's what's going to kill them and needs to improve if they're going to get in the playoffs, that road record. But Cam Ward just coming back the last couple games is a big, huge addition.
Off the draw, John Merrill with a quick shot, and that goes wide of Ward's cage. Some of those defeats, they've played well, including an overtime loss recently against the Boston Bruins, in which Kirk Muller called it a huge point for the team. Dinah Zubris works it back to the point. Here's Merrill across for Peter Harrell. Wrist shot goes wide. And taken here by Patrick Dwyer. The 6th-year National Hockey League forward dumps in. Brodeur keeps it moving. Peter Harrell takes a jolt deep in his own zone. And it's played back towards Brodeur. John Merrill, just his 3rd NHL game. Long shot stick the side by Brodeur. Ron Hainsey, the veteran defenseman, trying to help hold the zone here for Carolina. Punched in deep by the Hurricanes, swatted away with the paddle of Marty Brodeur. Deep in the zone, the battle continues. Brett Belmore pinching in, the defenseman for Carolina. Kane's able to work this back to the point, and Hainsey is on the puck. Able to play this across. Carolina controls, pass across for the veteran Radek Dvorak, who works it back to the point. And the puck came out of the zone. This is offside.
Well, the Devils hoping to break loose here at home, and this is a team that probably would have picked to show up tonight if Pete DeBoer would have had a choice, because the Devils have won 7 of the last 8 games versus Carolina here in the Prudential Center. There's a lot at stake. I was going to just say with Carolina, they were just starting to roll, and we talked about both teams wanting to score more goals. Alexander Semin is out with a concussion. That didn't help their cause either. Skinner was out for a couple games earlier.
Team made a big investment in Alexander Semin, some $45 million locked into a long-term deal. They need him healthy. They need him to play well. And truth be told, he was part of that line that was one of the best in the NHL for Carolina last year with Eric Staal and Yuri Talusti. Another icing call just a little more than 2 minutes in.
Well, tonight's key players are brought to you by Pure Hockey. No one has more hockey sticks at the lowest prices, guaranteed. And no one's having better seasons than these two guys. Andre Sekera, I don't know if you've heard about him much, but he's having a career year. There you see what he's done. And Yager, we've all heard of for many, many years.
Eric Jelena with a drive, stopped in front by Cam Ward. A nice change on the fly there with the name pronunciation of Andre Sekera. For years we have called him Andre Sekera, and indeed that's the way it's in the book. Here's Travis Zajac over the line. Sekera alerted everybody to the proper pronunciation recently. Stopped in front and sent into the corner. Work back to Eric Jelena once again. Plays it across. Here's Zidlitsky firing, and a save made by Ward.
Oh, that stung him up high. And he's asking for a time here. Cam Ward got hurt bad.
Canes have the puck. Jeff Skinner and a big save by Marty Brodeur. And now the stoppage in play.
Oh, wow, what a flurry of activity around Cam Ward. He had his hands up after that last shot saying, hey, I need a timeout here. He'd just been knocked down by Zubers. He gets up, and Dynas goes across in front of him again. He doesn't see it. Oh, my. Oh, you know what? Hey, you see that flap there? It tore the snap off of his mask, and that's why he's saying, hey, I need a whistle here. But before he could get that whistle, you see them going the other way, and Marty Brodeur, I don't know if he was distracted at all, but he just made a great toe save for his first of the game. But I got to tell you, twice now they've knocked Cam Ward down, so the Devils are ready to do some crease crashing.
He's come in a busy goaltender in the last couple of games, including the victory Sunday against the Ottawa Senators. He made 35 stops. Big hit delivered by Cam Janssen, who's in the lineup for an 11th straight game. He's getting some mileage out of this recent call-up. Harold plays it across. John Merrill battles for the puck, and it comes here to his defensive partner. Peter Harold skates it away for the Devils. Steered into the zone by Matthias Tedenby. Jacob Josephson controls here for the Devils. He's knocked off the puck, taken away, and Jay Harrison has this for the Hurricanes. Played ahead to the Czech winger, Yuri Tlusny. Over the line, Devils stop him. Now Dwyer sees this deflect up high, controlled by Adam Henrique, and Bernier shovels it back.
Both these teams built around four-line team, so we should see a lot of everybody on the bench tonight.
Picked up here by Dwyer. Over the line. Sent towards Brodeur, who kicks that away to the stick of Mark Fane, who punches it out to center. Glad you joined us for the first of a home-and-home series between these teams, wrapping the Thanksgiving holiday. Andy Green gives here to Fane. Long pass across, and this will be an icing call against the Devils.
Well, you know, I asked some players and fans, you think it's a big deal if you get the first goal in the National Hockey League? Well, what do you think? And Dynas Zubers says, no, not really. And the fans said the same thing, but how about this? The team scoring four, Steve, the first, they've won 260 games. The other team only 57 if you don't win, and 46 you at least get a point. So that's 200 and, oh, well, no, that's 300 and some points if you just score first. So we see big Adam Henrique down on the ice as he got felled by a slapper.
Getting rough out here in the opening minutes of players shaken up.
It is, but getting that first goal is so big. And I think, Steve, it's more than ever. A few years ago, we saw more comebacks, but not anymore. Now here you're going to see the face-off. And, you know, and Adam sees it coming, so he's suspecting it's going to hit his equipment. And I think he got it where any man in his right mind wouldn't want to get hit, but he's back up and he seems to be just fine. Thank goodness.
He goes to the bench, so pretty busy opening 4.5 minutes of tonight's game. Face-off will be just outside the Carolina zone. Devils, after a 6-2-1 surge to move a game over NHL 500, come in tonight trying to avoid a third consecutive loss. Justin Falk lets it go to the Finnish native, Tuomo Ruutu, the Travis Zajac. Takes it away for the Devils. Now Jagr steps in, gobbles up the loose puck, and gets it back from Dynas Zubers. Back to the point, Ziglitsky plays it across. Jelena fires, and it's stopped in front.
Wow. And Jelena hurt that Manny Malhotra. I'm not sure which defenseman. Oh, it's Justin Falk, Steve. He's limping to the bench. So he's injured as well.
So there's a 10 to Justin Falk, who's going to the locker room right now. Each one of these teams would like to tend to a stagnant offense. These are two of the bottom four scoring teams. As we mentioned, that's a great disparity from top to bottom. But the bottom line is, Devils' next 3 games are against teams that are facing similar issues.
Now, I talked about injuries, and the Hurricanes can't afford to lose any more critical players, and Justin Falk is certainly one of them. He's playing with Sekera, and they've been the two best defenseman for the Canes so far this year. But as you mentioned, Steve, he's in the dressing room right now.
Second round pick of the team back in 2010. And dumped away by the Devils. Getting chased is Lokianov. Sealed off by Brett Belmore, but Lokianov still battles for the puck. Now Ryan Carter joins the play. Michael Ryder is on with these two. Riley Nash, number 20 for Carolina. And we look to the Kings uniform this year. The long pass for Jeff Skinner. Injuries have interrupted his season in the early portion. Peter Harold, nice job to spin away and give here to Josephson. Here's Jacob Josephson over the line. Darts into the Kane zone and puts the brakes on. Sends it in deeper. Matthias Tettenby. Jansen in front of the net, camped out there. Tettenby back to the point. Fane with a wrist shot blocked away by Harrison. And gloved down by Dvorak, who dumps in. It's icing again against Carolina.
Well, we showed you that the Devils have done very well here against the Hurricanes at the Rock, won 7 out of 8. Here's another impressive stat, Steve. New Jersey has scored 3+ goals in 10 of the last 12 games they faced Carolina. So everything's setting up that they're going to score some goals tonight. So far, neither team has found the back of the net, but it's early.
Carolina with the first 3 shots of the game. Good news for the Canes. Justin Falk is back on the bench. And picked up here by Andy Green for New Jersey. Centering try by Green. Gets by everyone. Now Fane pumps it back in deep. Steve Bernier lays it behind the net. Nifty little move by Malhotra, but he lost the puck to Elias. Centering try. Oh, that was Bernier at the doorstep, but the puck never got to him. Malhotra skates it away for Carolina. Takes a hit from Mark Fane, and it's swept away by Elias. Carolina back to the point. Here's Falk with a shot, and he scores! How about that? Justin Falk went to the locker room, back on the ice, and he gives his team a 1-0 lead.
His first of the season. And boy, you know, again, Devils not giving much. If shot from the point, generally is not going to go in, but let's see how this unfolds. There you see, Marty Brodeur obviously doesn't pick it up. He takes a step too far to his right, and then he sees it going back short side into the net. And a nice snapping wrist shot by the ex-University of Minnesota Duluth Bulldog, national champion, Justin Falk.
A couple of players from that team have found their way to the National Hockey League.
Yes, a number of them, Steve. That was a great team they had, obviously, when you win the NCAA. And they did it against John Merrill's University of Michigan team.
Taken here by Carolina, centering try. The Jordan Staal line is on here with Tulowitzki and Patrick Dwyer, but this is Zajac for the Devils. Plays it back. Zidlinski with a shot that's blocked away by Ward. Rebound goes to Tulowitzki, who skates it away. Here's Staal picking up the loose puck. Tries to get around Zidlinski. Defended well by the Devils, and back the other way comes down to Zubris. Shovels it across. Jágr back to Zubris. Jaromir Jágr throws one towards goal. It goes wide of Ward's cage. Picked up here by Elias. Tries to play it in front and deflected away by Tulowitzki. Eric Staal, the Canes captain, over the line, got knocked down. Peter Harold plays it into the Carolina zone. Getting the lone assist on the goal to Malhotra at 6:44. Justin Falk, his first. Played back to the point. Harold worked it across. John Merrill fires one off the backboard. Belmore able to sweep that away. Trying to chip it out of the zone is Eric Staal. Finds the puck once again. Checked by Henrique, but now Belmore able to play it away for Tuomo Ruutu. Knocked off the stick of 5'5" Nathan Gergen. Here's Henrique at center ice. Taken here by Nash and played across to Jay Harrison. Lokianov at center, lost control, funneled into the Devils' end. Andy Green quickly on the loose puck for New Jersey.
Ryan Carter has had a couple of real strong games, getting a chance to move up the line with Ryder and Lokianov in the middle.
Huge goal on the West Coast trip for Ryan Carter, his third of the year in that victory over the Kings. Harrison, long pass out of the zone, taken away by Green, collected here though by Nash. Battle for the puck in the corner with Mark Fane. And now Green sends the Devils on their way. Lokianov, it's a 3-on-2. He's got Carter and Ryder with him. Plays it behind goal. Michael Ryder takes for the Devils. Works it back to the point. Eric Jelena firing. Blocked away. Nicely handled again. Collected by Jelena. Quick shot by Loktionov, and the one-timer went wide. Jelena in the corner. Gives here to Ryan Carter. Ryan Carter comes out with it. Back to the point. Jelena handling again. Fires. Deflected puck. Goes into the corner, and Loktionov gobbles it up. Good pressure here by the Devils as it's played back to Jelena again. His shot blocked away in front. Another try by Jelena goes wide. Zidlitsky takes it down low. Both defensemen on this shift, well involved in the attack. Comes here to Zidlitsky, who shoots on a pants save by Ward. And picked up here by Skinner. One of the best skaters in the league, Jeff Skinner, tries to make his way around Ryder, and it's taken away.
Pretty good play by Michael Ryder, being forced to play defense one-on-one.
Played across, Sekera with a shot. Deflected in front by Nash. Centering try by Carolina. Devils can't clear the zone. Here's Sekera once again, and that shot got through but went wide. Tedenby delivers a hit on Dvorak. Carolina answering back with pressure of its own and wisely lifted away by Ryder. Better than halfway through period one. Outlet pass steered into the Devils zone by Jordan Staal. Merrill for Tedenby. First breakout here by the Devils. But that pass too far for Peter Harold, and collected here by Belmore for Carolina. Here's Harold back for New Jersey. 1-0 lead for the Hurricanes. Justin Falk opening the scoring tonight as this is deflected out of play. When we come back, the faceoff will be in the Devils zone. 1-0 Canes in front.
In hockey, sometimes you fall down, you're forgotten about. That's what happens here. Watch Zidlitsky. He gets knocked down. Don't watch the puck. Keep watching him. He just circles around, and what appears? The puck, and he rips it, and Cam Ward with a nice right pad save. Maybe the best scoring chance of the night for the Devils. And here I'm talking about Michael Ryder. He's not a defenseman, doesn't skate back with the best, but he's smart, Steve. He doesn't go into a backward motion. It's all about angling. That way he can continue skating forward. He gets Skinner to have to go on his backhand and help Marty Brodeur shut down the chance.
And I suppose if you're going to have Jelena and Zidlitsky as involved as they were in that shift, you're going to need that from a forward like Michael Ryder.
Exactly, yeah.
Here's Jaromir Jagr. 3-on-2 for the Devils. Tried to ladle one into the zone and now chopped back in on a second try. Falk plays it across for Sekera. That pence off the mark. Mark Fane gets the loose puck to Jagr. Throws one in front, trying to find the handle of Zupas. Skated away by Tuomo Ruutu instead. And all sorts of bodily contact, including the men in stripes.
Well, it has been feisty to start, but it should, Steve. This is a big game. Big game for both teams and a big game for somebody on the Devils, Jacob Josephson. 100th career game. Now, I know he's not even aware of it. He's thinking, I'd like to have had 200 by now, but those injuries, again, he's been in and out of the lineup. But still in all, let's hope for his sake that number 100 has some lasting memories for him.
Well, Steven Giunta today was placed on injured reserve, retroactive to November 23rd. Josephson might get some sustained playing time here out of necessity, and you know he wants to make the most of this opportunity. Picked up here by Zidlitsky in the corner. Punched away by Carolina. Knocked away from Jeff Skinner. Bouncing puck, Zidlitsky lost his edge along the near boards. Elias able to funnel one in deep. Bernier plays it across. Henrique punched it towards the corner. Adam Henrique shaken up as that puck goes through the crease and taken here by Elias. Work back to the point. Zidlitsky is able to hold, and now Nash is able to send it to center.
Well, Devils are swarming and sending pucks into good areas, but they just can't seem to find a stick to get to that puck when they need it the most.
Henrique straight to the bench, as I mentioned, shaken up on that last play, chatting with Rich Denziano on the bench. To center ice, and Merrill fires in for New Jersey. Harold getting control. Puck got by Ryan Carter. Now Carter makes the defensive play at center. Picked up here by Carolina. And Michael Ryder comes back to take the loose puck and get to Loktionov. The chippy now with just over 7 to go in the opening period.
Well, you know, another thing is, Steve, back-to-back games, right? Like you're playing for tonight, but you're also playing for Friday night. So you might see a little more rough stuff in chippy play.
PNC Arena will be there on Friday night, day after Thanksgiving. Picked up here by Matthias Tedenby. Sweeps it into the Carolina zone. Jansen following up with Tedenby. Those two on with Josephson. Sekera able to play this out to center. Jordan Staal collects here for Carolina, but the Canes are offside with 6:47 to go in the first, and they lead by 1.
Steve, you talked about the great Thanksgiving crowd, and the Devils are going to have to muster more shots on goaltender Cam Ward if they're going to get them excited here. They've had some real good zone time. That's not indicative, but they only have 2 shots through just under 7 minutes to play in the first period. A lot of shots being blocked by Carolina, not getting it past the first wave, or in fact, the Devils forward blocking the defenseman shot. So they have to change the tempo up, change something up, and maybe interchange, not play so stagnant and play for that next goal because it's an important one.
Yeah, Kenny, I think a lot of the fans have been waiting for that elusive big first period as well. Devils have scored just 1 goal in regulation in each of the last 3, including that dramatic win that we saw in Los Angeles before Jágr scored the second in overtime. Zubris deep into the zone. Just got rid of Sekera and takes the puck. Back to the point. Jelena, shot deflected. Oh, just wide of Ward's far post. Picked up here by Zajac. Sent back in deep. Here's the goal scorer, Falk, and the breakout here for Carolina. Punched ahead towards Jordan Staal, and now the Canes able to gain the zone. Reaching out, Zidlitsky, a quick shot, save made by Brodeur, the follow-up by Patrick Dwyer, and that wouldn't go. Eric Staal steps on to continue the forecheck here for Carolina. Back to the point, Harrison with a drive, and it deflects off the stick of Marek Zidlitsky. Well, Patrick Elias, speaking about Carolina today and assessing the opponent, talked about a team that through the years has always been in your face when it comes to a forecheck. And Carolina with the most takeaways in the National Hockey League this season, 252. Chicago, Detroit, and the Islanders make up the top 4. You see where the Devils stand. I suppose a lot goes into that stat. When you're taking away the puck, it means you don't have it initially.
Yeah, that's not good, is it? Andrej Sekera, he leads all defensemen in that department. You know, you're talking about the Devils, though. I'll get to that in a minute here after they...
Watch Henrique, and that's deflected out of play.
Actually, we're going away for a break. I'll get to that later. The Devils want to score their first goal a lot sooner than they've been doing it.
Welcome back to The Rock on this Thanksgiving Eve. We are 5 minutes and 34 seconds away from the GMC intermission report. We will hear from Ken Daneyko. We'll get his take on the first period. We'll have highlights. We've got some numbers plus a holiday program that starts this weekend here at The Rock. So we'll have all that coming up on the GMC intermission report, guys.
Yeah, it's the Devils coat drive, Deb. One of the great events on the calendar. Team always does a wonderful job with that at this time of year. Off the draw, Devils trail by 1, and Drayson Bowman, the 24-year-old forward, pushes this into the Devils zone. Gets it away from John Merrill, but taken here by Harold. Given away to Bowman. Fires towards Brodeur, got the glove on it, and quickly picked up here by Radek Dvorak. Merrill delivers a hit on Malhotra. Brodeur behind the trapezoid. Got it away from Bowman in the nick of time. Now Marty back in his crease. Loose puck taken here by Merrill. Banks it off the far boards. Bernier trying to follow up. And this deflects off the stick of Belmore of Carolina.
Goals, goals, goals. You can never get enough of them. And Patrick Elias, since he's come back from that kind of bruise and spasm thing with his back, has been pretty productive. 5 points in the last 4 games, Steven. You know, just talking about the Devils, what I was going to say, it seems like a goal is needed for them to really gain their confidence and jumpstart their aggressiveness. The last 3 games, once they scored a goal, they've been all over the opposition. The problem has been it hasn't come till the 3rd period, and I know that's what they're trying to change here tonight.
Here's Lokdianov over the line. Tries to funnel one towards goal. Michael Ryder tied up. Zidlitsky trying to hold the zone at the point, but it deflects out to center. And the Devils are offside during that scrum.
Well, Carolina is no different than a lot of teams, but I'm going to just show you, Steve, what it means to score 2 goals or less or 3 goals or more. When they've scored 2 or fewer, they haven't, when they're allowing 2 goals or fewer, they're 8-0-1. But when they allow 3 or more, they're 1-10-4. And we've talked about that. It's a 3-2 league now. And you get 3 and you win. You give up 3 like we saw with Carolina. You don't win. And the Devils, the last win they had, they beat LA in overtime. But when they scored in Anaheim those 3 goals, you kind of had a feeling that they were rolling. And it's just something the team needs. They just need to know that they can score 3. Even if they can't, they got to believe they can.
It was a 4-goal victory in Anaheim. Game winner scored in unorthodox fashion by Travis Zajac that night. Devils try to work it out to center and picked up by Zajac here. Travis Zajac skates into the Kane zone. Backhand try on a save made by Ward. Rebound following up here. A shot by Zajac off the feed from Zubris, and it wouldn't go. Now Andy Green across. Mark Fane able to pick up Yager with a backhander that goes wide. Good surge by this line. Fane meets Toulouse. Helps the Devils keep the pressure in the Carolina zone. All 3 Devils forwards bunched up along the near boards and work back here to Fane. Plays it across. Andy Green able to collect. Throws one in front. Yager went for the redirection, but it comes instead to Carolina, and Toulouse lifts it away. Hurricanes, a team that hasn't qualified for the playoffs since the spring of 2009. The year they took the Devils 7 and won the decisive game at Prudential Center. Quick shot goes wide of Brodor's cage and kept alive at the point by Hainsey. Only momentarily skated away here by Josephson. He'll punch in and give chase. Hainsey gets it away from Josephson. Tettenby crashing the zone as well. Oh, a stick came up high on Belmore. Looks okay. He plays on, and here come Carolina, 3-on-2. Played across. Hainsey in front. Brodor handled that well and pushed it to the corner. Marty Brodor briefly gave up the puck, and now the whistle with 2:40 to go.
An interesting play by John Merrill to throw it there, but here's that chance. Zajac on the backhand. Breaks in, short side goal, no. Then he gets the puck. Far side is kind of jammed up with players. Is there any room there? Not much. Cam Ward really being in the middle of the shooting area all night so far. But Zajac and his line, they've gotten a few good chances again, Steve. Only 4 shots on goal. And there we see that sequence, only one of them reached Cam Ward.
Punched off the draw, Jelena gives here to Adam Henrique, who lifts it out to center. Knocked down with a high stick, and the faceoff will be in the neutral zone. Well, we mentioned Jacob Josephson, Chico, with the milestone, his 100th career game. And for Elias Lindholm, the Swedish 18-year-old for Carolina. He has 2 goals in his first 12 games. This is a terrific two-way player, the Canes tell us, recalled last week to help on the power play. You might recall him a silver medalist for Sweden at the World Junior Championships last year. He is by far the top prospect that Carolina has. Punched away by Manny Malhotra and given here to Bernier. Grayson Bowman picks this up at center. He's over the line. Bowman tries to play it across. Bouncing puck. Oh, Brodor nearly fooled by that, but it went wide of his cage and taken away by Zidlitsky. Outlet pass by Zidlitsky as he picks up Adam Henrique. Over the line. Plays it across for Bernier and swatted away by Ward. Pass to center. Punched away by Mark Fane. Carolina collects again, and the 36-year-old savvy veteran Radek Dvorak plays this back for Sekera. Green punches it ahead, taken here by Lokdianov. He's over the line for New Jersey. Sharp angle try. It's gloved by Cam Ward, who holds on.
Well, the jerseys retired in this building are all defensemen, 3 of them. But the Devils have had some terrific forwards. And we're going to show you the point leaders here. And there are 3 of them hanging around here tonight. Patrick Elias still skating on the ice. And behind the Canes bench, Johnny McLean and Kirk Muller. And they were both terrific offensive players. And, you know, Steve, even though you know offense and know how to score, Wayne Gretzky found out when you become a coach, it's not that easy to teach that goal-scoring stuff. And, in fact, that's just a natural gift that you seemingly have or you don't.
Kirk Muller, a 6-time All-Star in his NHL career. He was captain of the Devils for several seasons, 1989 to 91. He did a lot of reminiscing back here this morning. Played back to the point, Andy Green, able to pick up Mark Fane, who fires in deep. Just remembers veterans like yourself, Mel Bridgman, pushing him along. The bridge between the older and the newer guys on that team. Picked up here by Carter, worked it back to the point, and taken here by Green. Michael Ryder lets it go. Lockiana on the loose puck, back to the point for Mark Fane. Throws one in front, redirected by Ryder, and the stop made by Ward. Here's Fane. Puck got over his stick. Devils have to reset on a delayed offside. Jay Harrison for the Hurricanes. Just over half a minute to go in the opening period. Carolina with 11 shots to the Devils 6. And the Canes with the 1-0 lead. Eric Jelinek plays this with the stick and sends it to center. Picked up here by Hainsey, who punches it towards the Devils' end. And we get a stoppage with 19 ticks of the clock to go.
Well, there's no question the leader of this Hurricane team is that man right there, the captain, Eric Staal. And he's on a nice little point streak right now. He's got a 6-game point streak, 3 goals, 5 assists, second longest in the NHL. And Patrick Kane, who's really been red hot, he so far has had an 11-game point streak. But the two Staal boys are a pretty nice 1-2 punch for any hockey team. It's a rarity. I was thinking today, Steve, maybe the Hall brothers, Bob and Dennis. I'll get back to that.
Picked up here by Nathan Burby, and a shot that Marty Brodeur will cover up.
But in terms of offense, maybe Bobby and Dennis Hall, when they played for the Blackhawks, might have been maybe the best 1-2 punch. Stan Fisher would say, oh no, it was the Bentley boys, Max and Doug. But that, unfortunately, was back in the 40s and early 50s. But I'm curious, and the boys try to describe it, but I can't imagine, Steve, what it would be like to play with your brother, but not only play with him, but being the two key guys to make the whole thing work. That's a lot of pressure, and there's no shrugging it. I mean, it's a family affair.
The Sedins understand that well in Vancouver, certainly. Devils had an opportunity there, and as the period expires, it's 1-0 Carolina.
Well, it's the same story. Pete DeBoer would say, Devils, we're playing well. Just got to find a way to score. Only 6 shots in that first period for the Devils.
Well, avoid the stress of holiday shopping this season by giving the gift of the Devils Holiday Hat Trick, presented by Mountain Creek. This 3-game plan comes with a Mountain Creek lift ticket, a limited edition Devils ski hat, and tickets to see Jersey's team take on the Blackhawks, Capitals, and the Avalanche. Log on now to NewJerseyDevils.com/hat trick to find out how you can score a hat trick this holiday season. Devils trail 1-0, first period in the books at the Rock. The GMC first intermission report coming up. The Devils get ready for the coat drive that launches this weekend. Deb and Dano on period 1 in just a moment. Tonight on MSG, the Knicks take on the Clippers, and live coverage gets underway with Visa Knicks game night at 10 p.m. with tip-off at 10:30. Knicks Clippers tonight on the MSG network. Devils hope they're getting healthier real soon. Adam Larson out with a lower body injury tonight for the second consecutive game. Anton Volchenkov did take part in practice this morning. That's a sign that his return is imminent. Out the last 6 games with a pulled leg muscle. The captain's been missing for 15. Bryce Salvador out 15 games.
There you see Merrick's ice time, his shots, blocks, and he is trying to help with that offense, Steve. I mean, the Devils' defense know that if the forwards are going to score, they're going to need help from the back line, and Merrick's trying to get that done. I've seen Jelena, he's blasted away, you know, so I don't know. Like, I've been sitting here thinking, if someone said to me, like you, Steve, you'd be the most likely person, what do the Devils have to do to get a goal? I'd say, let's see, where do we start, or where do we really go with it? They were all around the net, a lot of puck possession time in Carolina's end, but just not, except for one really good chance, not much more to show for it.
Well, this is the defense pairing that's on the ice now. Most likely to contribute in that respect. It's Zidlitsky with Eric Jelena, although Andy Green does have primary assists in back-to-back games coming into tonight. Second period underway here at the Rock. And Zidlitsky darts out of his own end. The headman pass to Dainis Zubrus. Knocked off the stick of Travis Zajac. Jaromir Jagr collects at center ice. Darts into the zone and plays it across. Here's Zajac. Throws it across. One-time shot by Zubrus, and he couldn't get it off cleanly. Back to the point, though. Fane with a shot, and that just goes wide. Devils come out a house of fire here, and Cam Ward will hold on.
Tonight's Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. And let's talk about something positive, Steve. Devils penalty kill. 86.6. That's the best overall. They're even better at home. They killed off 15 of the last 16. And it has been a point of momentum, of inspiration. They've scored a couple of shorthanded goals this season. It's the other parts of their game that need to pick up.
Dangerous team on the penalty kill, too. They've scored 2 shorthanded. Adam Henrique had the last one against Tampa Bay. John Merrill back to collect this for New Jersey. Michael Ryder. As it's knocked back here for Peter Harrell. Opening minute, second period. Devils and Hurricanes in the first of the home-and-home series. Picked up here by Michael Ryder. Knocked it away from Bellemore. Takes it into the corner. Now sealed off by Hainsey. Lokianov on the loose puck for the Devils. It comes instead to Grayson Bowman. And here come the Hurricanes back the other way as Dvorak dumps in. Taken off his stick by Lokianov. Bernier hit by Kirby on the far boards. Now Bernier. And Lokianov wrestles this out to center. Justin Falk, the man with the game's only goal so far, sends it into the Devils zone. Kirby in deep. Cuomo Ruutu battling for the puck. Nice job by Bernier to take it off his stick and give it here to Harrell. Slap back in deep. Centering try for the Hurricanes. They score. Cuomo Ruutu with the one-timer off the feed from Eric Staal, and it's a 2-0 Carolina lead.
Jarmo Ruutu scored the last game, Steve. It's his 3rd goal of the season. And a pretty responsible group out there for New Jersey. Here the puck is going to go down deep. Devils surrounding it. Ruutu actually has it stripped by Bernier, who throws it back, and Harrell can't quite catch up to it until he gets rubbed out. A quick up to the boards. He's hoping Elias could get there, but that doesn't happen. And then Staal with a twisted wrister pass, and Ruutu just over the glove buries it. What a pass by Eric Staal.
Points now in 7 consecutive games for the Hurricanes captain. And the Devils trailing by 2. Ruutu's had big moments against New Jersey. Adam Henrique shoots, and that wouldn't go. Pinching in here is Fane. Tries to send it back into the corner, but taken instead by the Hurricanes. Elias on the forecheck, but the Hurricanes come away with it, and it comes here to the stick of Elias Lindholm. Punched back across by Jeff Skinner.
That Sekera got the assist. He was the point man, Steve. What a quick play by him along the boards under pressure from Elias to get it back to the side of the net to Staal.
Now Fane with the Devils down 2. Lifts it back towards the Carolina end, and Ward just gets rid of it. Trying to catch the Devils in a change. Picked up here by Jordan Staal. Knocked down by Eric Jelena and taken here by Tedenby. Outlet pass to Cam Jansen, who punches it as far as center ice before Dwyer darts back the other way. The goal from Ruutu, 3rd of the year. Eric Staal and Sekera at 1 minute 50 seconds of period 2. Battling for the loose puck, Jordan Staal trying to get a shot away, blocked in front. Bouncing puck got by Ryan Murphy, the 20-year-old defenseman at the point. Pounded by Tedenby and fired into the zone by Josephson. Hurricanes have had success in the new division this year, the Metropolitan. 5-3 against their new rivals so far this year. Into the corner, Merrill chops at the loose puck. Centering try, gets back towards Dvorak. Fans on the shot and skated away here by Zajac. Controlled with the glove of Merrill. And he'll maneuver this out to center. John Merrill dumps in deep. Devils now have to come back from down 2 against a goaltender who's been good in his last few outings in Cam Ward. Taken here by Jágr. Tried to drop it back for Zajac. That pass behind him and taken away by Dvorak. Here's Mark Fane back in his own end. Green plays it out of the zone. Picked up here by Zajac. Travis walks in. He scores! Travis Zajac to make it a 2-1 game.
Well, the Canes get caught in a change. And what I like about this goal is Travis Zajac looks over at Jágr. This is the key, folks. Now, if you're the goaltender, Ward, and this player's going to look over at Jágr, you're thinking, I'm going to pass this. Nice play by Andy Green here. But watch. Travis looks as he comes across the blue line. And I thought, don't try and give it. See, he looked there, and then he looked back. And there's a 5-hole between the legs of Cam Ward. And after the look, it's right there. Snaps it through the wickets, and the Devils are on the board. And let's see how they respond.
That line that had been quiet for a very short stretch, just 2 games, producing what could be a big goal here. Zajac's 4th of the year. This is thrown in front. Back to the point where Zidlitsky sends one towards goal, and it deflects wide. Big hit by Jelena, trying to free up the puck in the offensive zone. Now Henrique tries to play it across for Bernier, and taken away by the Hurricanes. It's a 3-on-2 the other way. Jelena delivers the nice hit on Eric Staal, but the Canes send it in deep.
Assisted by
Dinah Zubris, the primary assist on the first Gibbles goal of the night. Andy Green now assists in 3 consecutive games. Nash checked by Eric Jelena. He's been a hit machine on this shift and sent back into the Devil zone. Brodeur for Jelena, and it comes here to Michael Ryder. Pass intercepted by Skinner, thrown back toward Jelena, and swept away by the big defenseman. Now the Devils just chip it out of the zone, and Carter gives here to Michael Ryder. Michael Ryder, his shot blocked away by Ward. Another try by Loktionov, and Ward got that as well. Back to the point. Merrill fires, and that goes wide. Surge here by the Devils. Peter Harrell takes it in front. Tried to throw one into the crease. Blocked away by Murphy. Good pressure by this unit. Michael Ryder battling for the puck along the near boards. Loktionov's got a stick in there as well. Carter is knocked down. Ryder punches it back for Merrill, who sends it in deep. Loktionov in the corner, but the puck comes here to Murphy, and the long pass out of the zone to Jeff Skinner. Skinner roughed up by Merrill. Centering try for Jordan Staal. Staal tries to throw it in front for Dwyer, but taken away by Harrell, and back come the Devils. Here's Matthias Tedenby, who dumps in. Jansen on the move, delivers a hit on Hainsey. Tedenby takes the puck, throws it in front, gets back to the point where Fane collects and gives to Green. Andy Green going for the redirection was Jansen in the high slot. Kept alive by Andy Green at the point. Tedenby behind the net. Crosses up with Josephson. Tries to feed Josephson. That pass blocked away by the Hurricanes and skated here to center by Patrick Dwyer. 2-1 game, better than 7 minutes into period number 2.
Well, what a great play for the Devils to get their scoring started. Now look at Andy Green way down here. What a pass up. And that's just a touch play by Zubris. And then it's a 2-on-1. But Dinah Zubris just touching that puck. Put it right on the stick of Travis Zajac. And Travis sees the big 5-0. We showed it earlier on the other look. And I really believe Cam Ward was thinking Travis is trying to pass this. Instead, he changes his mind and changes maybe the complexion of this game by burying it between the legs of Cam Ward, who has been very good. And if you're a team shooting against a goalie like Cam Ward, you're just hoping you can get something to break a little bit of that confidence he was showing early on. So the Devils take a timeout. It was the Devils.
Indeed it was.
And you know what? I don't know. That 4th line was on Steve. They played well. They're on a roll. But Pete DeBoer must see something he likes rather than something he doesn't. Normally, you have a timeout because you're out of control. Yeah, here, I think he sees something he's noticed that he wants the team to continue to do, because he took it after and it may have been that line was on for a while, so that may have been part of it. But all 4 lines now for the Devils starting to roll.
Here's the 4th line with Tenby, Jansen, and Josephson. Ruutu sends it towards Brodeur, and he'll hold on, and now the Devils can get the change. We'll step aside with 12:44 to go in the middle period. 2-1 hockey game. The historic 1984 NHL draft. The Penguins got one of the best ever, Mario Lemieux. The Devils got a good hockey player in Kirk Muller. Look at the rest of it. Stéphane Richer taken 29th by Montreal. Patrick Roy, Brett Hull, Luc Robitaille, Hockey Hall of Famers taken later. Cadillac Trivia. Who was the 3rd overall pick in the 84 draft after Mario Lemieux and Kirk Muller? What a great question.
I did ask Kirk that before the game to see if he knew the trivia. I won't reveal it, but he did know the right answer.
Good for him.
I was impressed.
I would think he was. That has to live vividly for any player, right? Devils back in the game, trailing 2-1 on the Zajac goal. That line is back out now. Here's Jaromir Jagr. Centering try with Zajac in front, but the puck gobbled up by the Hurricanes. And the ex-Boston College man, Nathan Gerbe, plays it across. Here's Ruutu, gets a shot away. It's blocked by Fayne. Sekera throws it behind the Devils' net. Ruutu hit by Zubris, and the puck taken away here by Fayne, who dumps in. Banks it off glass. Full change for the Devils with 12 minutes to go in the second. Picked up here by Dvorak. Dvorak over the Devils line, tries to race around Peter Harold, puts the brakes on and plays it back. Firing, they score! Ron Hainsey from the blue line, and it got past Brodeur for a 3-1 lead.
And it's a deflection, Steve. It's either Bowman or Malhotra, and this is 2 goals in a row now where the puck just goes to the Canes defense and it ends up in the net. And Marty's looking at it as well. I mean, these aren't bad plays. Here you see it. Oh, excuse me, it is a deflection, but unfortunately, it is by that man, Patrick Elias, who got one for his team the last game against Winnipeg, a dandy. But this time it ends up in the wrong net as far as he's concerned. Big break for the Canes.
Just as it looked, the Devils were tilting the ice the other way. Now Brodeur shovels it into the corner, and the lead for the deficit for the Devils is back to 2 as it comes here to John Merrill. Picks up Elias at center. Dishes off for Henry. Tries to throw it in front. That's sticked aside by Cam Ward. Comes out the center where Jelena punches it back in. Devils had to get back on side. This is Nash with the puck for Carolina. And Dvorak into the Devils' end. Brodeur the outlet pass. Does it himself and picks up Henry. Shoveled on goal, and Ward will cover up. Jacob Josephson of the New Jersey Devils, his 100th career National Hockey League game, 20th overall pick in 2009. We talked about the injury to Steven Giunta, perhaps just opening a door for some playing time consistently here for Josephson. He played just 8 of the first 24. Chance here for repetition as he seeks his first points of the season. He scored 6 times in the 99 played before tonight. Devils can use one here. Carter comes off the boards. Here's Michael Ryder. Checked by Harrison and taken away by the Hurricanes. Malhotra knocked down. Bouncing puck got past Tudlitsky. Taken here by Skinner. He's brought down as the puck is sent behind Brodeur and taken here by Jelena. Lokdianov ahead for Ryan Carter. No icing here. Officials rule Carolina could have played the puck, and it's taken here by Harrison. Ryan Murphy, long pass, gets by Skinner, and Brodeur takes this. Can't send it out of the zone, picked up here by Tenby instead. Matthias Tenby gets the legs moving over the Carolina line, swept away by Falk. Tenby back on the puck. Ridden off the play by Falk. Fane pinching in for the Devils. Puck battle along the far boards, and it comes here to Jordan Staal. 2-on-1. He's got Dwyer with him. Now plays it across to the trailer, and Falk and knocked away. Tedenby gives here to Josephson. Matthias Tedenby along the near board. Battles for the loose puck. Comes here to Jagr instead, and he rang it off the pipe. Deflects all the way to Merrill. Oh, Jagr nearly made it a one-goal game again. Jaromir Jagr gives to Harold. Reverses course. Plays it back. Shot by Merrill is stopped in front by Ward. Scramble in front. Oh, Jagr at the doorstep, and it wouldn't go. Merrill again. Harold for Jagr. Couldn't collect the first pass cleanly, and taken here by Harold. Played down low. Zajac tries to come in front with it. Swatted away by Cam Ward. Good pressure by this unit as it comes down to Zubras. Jagr controls with the skate, then the pass to Zajac. He's knocked down. Fans want a penalty, we play on. Jagr instead back to the point. Taken here by Merrill. Merrill throws one behind the glass. And taken here by Jagr. Glove down by Zajac. Good pressure by this unit, and finally the Canes just get it out to center. Pass ahead for Staal. Brodeur knocks it away from him. The Hurricanes captain. Bumps with Jelena, a pair of 6'4" bodies. Staal tried to play it in front. Instead, Jelena to Elias. And now Zubras on the move. 3-on-2 if the Devils hurry. Offside is the call.
Well, it's 3-1 in a crossbar, and you can see by the body language who it was that hit that bar right there. Pressure on the puck by Jacob Josephson. Coming in next, the second forechecker. Tedenby, he applies a little bit more. And this man there, then it's Jagr. He steals it. He shoots off the crossbar. I'm superstitious, Steve. I would take that net and I'd put another net there. It's the second time in 2 games that crossbar in almost the identical position has robbed New Jersey of a goal. And look at Jagr in traffic. He one-hand pokes it just wide. Almost scored on his second opportunity.
Keeping an eye on the Zamboni. Nobody's making a move for the spare goal, by the way.
I would do it. I'd say, enough. You had your chance, Cole. You're going to the other net.
Good a theory as any as Fane goes back to play this and gets it away from Derby. The 3-1 goal scored by Ron Hainsey from Dvorak and Falk at 8:16. To get the Carolina lead to 3-1. Here's Steve Bernier into the Cane zone. Following up is Elias. Those two on with Adam Henry. Green at the point. Plays it across. Saved by Ward off the slap shot from Eric Jelena. Punched ahead to Ruutu. No icing here. Brodeur starts it back the other way. Waiting for the feed is Carter. Shovels it ahead. Laktianov got a shot off, and the pad save made by Ward.
Nice little nifty play by Ryan Carter.
Laktianov on the puck. Back to the point. Jelena throws it towards goal. The Russian center has this. Lets it down. Tries to cycle it in deep for Ryder. Murphy able to work the puck free. And the Hurricanes come away with it. Dvorak gives here to Bowman. Grayson Bowman tries to power move, tries to get a shot away, and Brodeur with a stop in front, but back to the point. Murphy, redirection in front by Bowman, goes way wide.
Let's remember that save, Steve. At 3-1, that could be a game changer for Brodeur.
Picked up here by Carter at center ice. Marty Brodeur, his 13th save of the night. Canes have beaten him 3 times. Picked up here by Zajac. Tried to funnel one across for Jagr. Now he collects off the boards. Hit by Nash. But it's worked free to the stick of Zubras. Gives here to Jagr. A shot! And Ward got a piece of it. Zubras for Jagr. Well, this line finding its chemistry again. Zajac tracks down the loose puck. Backs it off the boards for Zubras. Dinas behind the net. Tries to maneuver away. Jagr got a stick on it, but taken by the Hurricanes and clear. Here's John Merrill. Gives to Jagr. That pass intercepted by Dvorak. Radek Dvorak, soft shot, goes off the skate of Harold. He was at the tail end of his shift. Jagr trying to control. What strength by Jagr not to have the puck stripped away, and the Devils come away with it. It's Justin Falk whose goal got it started tonight for Carolina. Fires in. Harold tries to chip it ahead. Eric Stahl. Work back to the point. Falk saved by Brodeur and gets on the rebound before Lindholm could pounce. We'll step aside in a 3-1 game. The Canes lead.
Well, you know, some plays just turn out better when they mess up. And Bowman's looking to shoot this, but it goes off the stick, and Dvorak has the whole top of the net. There you see Bowman getting so little on it, but it's a perfect pass, and Dvorak has it just a little bit behind him. But watch this say, it's going to hit this man's skate right there, and off the toe of Cam Ward. Devils getting no puck luck now around the net. Cam, though, with a good butterfly just in case something like that happened, and it did, and he made a big stop.
He's played just 17 games last season through the lockout and then an injury, Cam Ward. Our first penalty of the game is coming up. It's against Carolina. Brodeur to the bench. Fane has to retreat as the puck came out of the zone. Carolina with the touch, and with 5:02 to go, we'll get to look at the Devils' power play. First, let's check in with Deb Placey.
Well, the third period has been the Devils' period the last couple of games, so you have to stay with us for the second intermission report. Ken Daneyko will join us. We'll have highlights and some numbers. It's all coming up at the second intermission, guys.
Well, that third period could be much more if they get within one.
And there you see the hook. Ron Hainsey, who scored a goal, now sits in the box, and Devils have scored one this period, Steve, but they want to get at least one closer before this period ends.
Big hit by Gelinas.
The power play can give you a lift, especially at the end of a period, or if you don't get anything going on it, it can certainly get you down as well.
Elias tries to drag the puck into the zone, but Dvorak takes it away and clears.
And the other thing I wanted to say, you didn't see the top of the show. Some of the Devils' Thanksgiving wishes are outstanding, so stay tuned and watch. It was very inspiring what some of the guys said.
That's coming up, second intermission. Andy Green trying to hold the zone, couldn't do it. Patrick Dwyer instead, shorthanded. Breaks in on Brodeur, he scores! Backhand shot by Patrick Dwyer, a shorthanded goal to make it 4-1.
Well, now, Steve, Patrick Dwyer, 3 goals in the last 4 games, and this is going to bounce over Andy Green's stick here. And see, it's Yarmer hustling back, but Dwyer does the forehand between the legs, and Andy just doesn't get enough on it. He's trying to elevate a saucer pass, which doesn't work, and then it's going to be a deke through the legs. Marty's trying to get a push, but watch, right between the skates. Brodeur sticks coming, second too late, he threw his legs, and Dwyer bulges this lead. Who would have thought that? The Devils would give up a shorthander when they needed a power play so badly.
Now the remainder of the power play really becomes critical as Dynas Zubris takes this into the Kane zone. Dynas Zubris around Belmore. Ryder crashes into the zone deep. Jágr holds on to the puck. Draws the attention of 2 Hurricanes and taken here at the point by Zajac. First try blocked away. Turns and gives to Jágr. His shot, and that goes wide. Picked up here by Zidlitsky. 40 seconds to go on the power play, and another big clear for Carolina.
That was Patrick Dwyer's second shorthanded goal, Steve, and you like that out of your second, third line players who kill penalties.
Made his debut in the Stanley Cup playoffs in 09, Dwyer. That goal unassisted at 15:43. Marty Brodeur holds. Time for one more rush as it's picked up here by Jágr. Jaromir Jágr gives to Zajac. Puts the brakes on, back to the point. Pass got by Peter Harold, and it comes out of the zone. Delayed offside, and that will do it for the power play. No shots for New Jersey, and a shorthanded goal conceded. Henrique back in his own end, gives here to Harold. Deflects up high, Henrique. Funneled ahead to the stick of Steve Bernier. Works around Falk and keeps on going. Bernier puts the brakes on. Back to the point, gives here to Merrill. Merrill, soft shot, loose in front, Devils jam at it. Elias goes tumbling over Cam Ward. Taken here by Merrill. Laid across. Harrell going for the redirection was Henrique. Couldn't find the puck. Now John Merrill cuts in. A centering try. Comes instead to Carolina. It's caught up in the skates of Eric Staal. He didn't see it. Taken here by Henrique. Elias works it back for Harrell. Played across for Merrill. His shot deflected in front and gobbled up by Justin Falk.
Well, Patrick Elias can't believe it, and neither will the folks at home when they see this replay. Patrick frantically trying to get it off the goalpost and put it in the net. Something happened, Steve. I'm not sure what it was, but he got robbed of a layup goal.
Harold collects here for New Jersey. 1:40 to go in the middle period. Disappointing night for the Devils so far. Trailing 4-1. Lafayette over the line. Trying to pick up Thane and swept away by the Hurricanes. Now Holtra into the Devils zone. Andy Green back to collect the puck. Fought off by Malhotra. Centering try. Picked up instead by Ryan Carter, who darts into the Carolina end. This puck deflects out of play with 1:18 left.
All right, well, just in what we've seen lately, Yager hits the crossbar. That would have been a goal. Now look at here. There's Patrick. Well, he has Bernier jamming in as well. Maybe we'll see a nice shot by John Merrill. End over end. And now Patrick's going to have it here. That's what I'm saying. He wants to bring it out front. Can't get his stick on it. And I don't know if Steve's stick hit Patrick's before he could curl it into the crease and put it away. But it just shows the type of luck that the Devils have had tonight.
Here's Jansen on for the Devils. Hop, skip, and a jump around Hainsey.
Last minute of play in the second
Picked up
period.
instead by Jordan Staal. Punched it out to center. Now Dwyer plays it here to Tuloski. Tuloski back to Dwyer. Got a backhander off, and that time Brodeur with the save. Puck still loose and taken instead by Green. Falk tries to hold the zone. Teddenby trying to get on the puck as it comes here to center ice, and Josephson dumps in. Jansen on the move again. Puck swept away by Falk. All the way to Dwyer, who sends it in deep with half a minute to play in the period. Here's Marek Zidlitsky ahead for Yager. Dishes off. Pass here for Travis Zajac. Defended away by Falk and back into the Devils' end. Skinner takes it away. Goes for Dvorak. Played it across for Nash, but his stick was tied up. Final seconds of period 2, and the Devils will try to sort this out in the intermission, trailing by 3 at home.
Well, not an empty seat, it looks like, in the house tonight, and the fans are not happy. As you can imagine, they're disappointed, as are the Devils. They gave up 3 here in the second, Steve. Devils could have scored 3 as well. They got 1, missed a couple other chances, but just not good enough. And they're going to have to find some veteran leadership and some goal scoring if they're going to come back in this hockey game.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra is bringing its 2013 winter tour to the Rock for 2 shows on December 23rd at 3 and 8 p.m. Celebrating their first 15 years of touring, they'll be playing an encore and final performance of their multi-platinum rock opera, The Lost Christmas Eve. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com or visit BruceCenter.com for more information. Hurricanes have the edge here in the first of the home and home against the Devils. They lead it 4-1. On this Thanksgiving Eve, we'll hear from the New Jersey players on that, and Devin Dano on period 2 when we come back. The Devils' upcoming schedule is brought to you by Lexus. The back end of the home and home is in Carolina. Friday night, 7 o'clock on MSG+. Devils and the Buffalo Sabres Saturday at the Rock on MSG. Keep in mind at 7. And then the Canadians are here next week, 7:30 on MSG+. That will be live from the Bell Center in Montreal. Well, Marty Brodeur is starting his 3rd consecutive game. He's been the goaltender for 11 now of the last 15. And Corey Schneider is a guy who wants to be in goal. We all know that. The Devils understand his feelings as well, Chico. He played the majority of the games in Vancouver last season. He's been terrific when he's been called upon this year. And this was a tough decision, I know, today for Pete DeBoer.
Well, you know, just so everybody knows, Corey Schneider was in a situation where He said, we don't want any controversy. He didn't say anything in Vancouver. He and Luongo were battling, but he feels he's in the prime of his career. And he's done very well, but remember, his last game, just so we know, was a great one in LA. He wins. I think he expected to play either Winnipeg or tonight. And of course, the press and everyone recognizes he misses these 2 games. What's his feelings? They all surrounded him this morning and said, how do you feel? And he said, you know what? I'm surprised. I'm frustrated. It seems like it's Groundhog Day again for me. He said, I just want some net time. Now, some fans would say, oh, he's got to keep his mouth shut. That's going to cause a controversy. He could have lied and said, yeah, that's all right. I only control what I can control. But instead, he was just honest. And I just hope that people, especially the press, don't blow it out where he's complaining and he's a poor teammate. He just was asked a question and he gave an honest answer. And I think that's the competitive nature he has, that he wants to play, and he voiced that. And I think Marty would understand it. He'd say the same thing.
Marty Brodeur and the Devils trailing 4-1 as the 3rd period begins.
High stick here. I don't know if it's a penalty or just a puck being hit with a high stick. No, Marek Sedlitsky in the defensive zone. I don't know, Steve. It must have maybe been accidental. I don't remember a play. There was some battling going on in front of the net as the puck went to the point, but I don't know. Devils got scored on when they had the power play the last time in the second. Maybe they can reverse this and do the same and get a shorty.
First power play of the night for Carolina. It wasn't good last year. Not good so far this year. 26th in the NHL. Against, as we told you earlier, second best penalty kill unit in the league, but the Devils need goals. Staring at a 3rd consecutive defeat unless they can come back from down 3. On the power play, Eric Staal gets it started for Carolina and fires into the Devils zone. The Sedlitsky high sticking call, 24 seconds in. Jeff Skinner plays it across. Sekera's shot, save made by Brodeur. Andrei Sekera plays it back in deep, and now sent the length of the ice by Mark Fayne. Ward holds behind his goal for Justin Falk. Jacob Josephson, Ryan Carter on to continue the kill for the Devils. Here's Eric Staal over the Devils line. Shovels towards the corner. Andy Green there to collect. Josephson tries to get it out of the zone, instead hammered back in by Falk. To the stick of Ryan Carter. 2-on-2, he's got Josephson with him. Devils trying to make something happen short-handed, and this is deflected out of play. The Cadillac trivia question tonight goes back to the 1984 draft. Mario Lemieux was selected first. Kirk Muller second by the Devils. Who was the 3rd overall pick in the NHL draft?
And Kirk Muller's answer was Eddie Olczyk. Let's see if Kirk knows what he's talking about. He does. And just a little more trivia, Eddie Olczyk's first goal in the National Hockey League was scored against yours truly at the old Continental Airlines Arena.
Drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks, Chicago native.
And he never lets me forget it. He does now, as you know, color for NBC with Doc Emmerich.
Cleared the length of the ice by New Jersey. Good kill so far with 23 seconds to go. Darting out of his own zone is Ryan Murphy. Played across, Hainsey, one of the goal scorers tonight for Carolina, fires in. Deep in the zone, collected here. And back for Murphy at the point. Plays it across. Hainsey back for Murphy. Quick pass, Nathan Gerby. Lays it down low. Penalty time up. Sedlitsky out of the box. Back to 5-on-5. Murphy gets the quick shot away, and it's blocked away in front. Ruutu was at the doorstep. Battle for the loose puck. Gerby comes away with it. Throws it towards goal, and he fires it wide. Even strength now. Carolina keeping the pressure in the Devils zone. And it comes here to Peter Harrell. John Merrill on the move here for New Jersey. Tries to play it ahead for Matthias Tedden. He's swept away by the Hurricanes. And the long pass for Bowman. Intercepted here by Josephson. Quickly played for Michael Ryder. Tried to drag it around Malhotra and now played in deep. Manny Malhotra backs it off the backboard. Belmore trying to punch it away for Hurricanes, and he does.
Steered into the zone by Ryder. It's the first time since October 17th the Devils goaltender has allowed 4 in one game. Batted down with the high stick of Andy Green, and with that we get the whistle. Here's our Tri-Honda Dealers game recap. It's 4-1 Hurricanes here early in the third. Falk, Ruutu, Hainsey, and Dwyer came shorthanded. Sekera has 2 assists. Travis Zajac the lone goal for New Jersey.
Well, 4 goals against the 2 periods, which even makes it tougher. But, you know, the Devils got to realize, I mean, Carolina's a real nice team, and they do some good things. But they're not an ironclad defensive squad.
Played in front.
Thank you, Steven. You got to believe that you could, if you get one, they're going to feel a little tight. You know, these teams have the same record. I mean, you just can never think that it's over. And I don't think the Devils do. But right now, they don't seem to have the same pizzazz they had in that first and second period.
3-on-2 as it's shoveled across by Zubras. Zajac ties the return feed, but knocked away. And here's Stahl on the move. Eric Stahl gives to Gerby. His shot is fired wide. Stahl tries to throw it back towards goal. Hainsey at the point will punch it back in deep. Eric Jelena plays this ahead for Jágr. Devils came home this week with such high hopes of trying to build on the successful West Coast trip. Dramatic victories in Southern California on back-to-back nights. And not much has gone right since then. Losing a couple of close games, trailing by 3 tonight. Talusti delivers a check. Puck work free. Dwyer going for a second of the game. That time Brodeur with the stop. Quick shot from the point. Blocked away by Brodeur and handled here by Elias.
Dwyer tried to go 5-hole again. Marty was ready for it that time.
Bernier delivers a hit. Frees up the puck here for Peter Harrow. Punched out of the zone by the Devils. Cam Ward will play the puck into the corner. Bernier delivers a hit. Elias with the centering try for Bernier, but taken away by Dwyer and the Hurricanes.
Nice back check by Dwyer. Boy, he's having a game, Steve, at both ends of the ring.
Carter battles along the near boards. Without a stick, Dwyer kicks at it, and it's punched away by Jordan Stahl. We were speaking of the prowess of the Stahl brothers earlier. Jared Stahl, the third brother, part of the Carolina organization, is in the AHL playing for Charlotte at this time. Scramble for the loose puck in the corner. Picked up here by Ryan Carter. Tries to shake loose of Murphy. Ryder jars the puck free. Lochtiana back to the point for Fane. Plays it across. Wrist shot by Green, and the redirection went wide. Hammering at it at the side of the net was Lochtiana. Now Carter continues the strong play in the offensive zone. Lochtiana hit along the near boards. Work free, and now Fane's shot is deflected off the glass behind Ward, and the long carom out to Jeff Skinner. He's over the line and met by Andy Green. Better than 6 minutes into period 3. Long pass for Tedenby, who's in. Matthias Tedenby sees it poke checked away by Falk. Jansen delivers a hit. Tedenby deep in the zone. Now Josephson on the forecheck. Tedenby gobbles up the loose puck. Josephson following, has got it. Works it back to the point. Jelena's across. Zidlinsky fires. Pad save made by Ward through traffic. Tedenby again in the corner. Carolina needs a change. Zidlinsky fires. Another big save by Ward.
Couple of big rebounds there, but the Devils couldn't get to them. Good shift, though, by that fourth line, Steve. That's exactly what the Devils want to continue.
Here's the Zajac line trying to build on that. He gives to Zubras. Punched ahead. All 3 members of that line deep in the zone. Taken here by Jágr. Throws it behind the net. Zubras centering try. Zajac tried to pull the trigger, and he couldn't get a clean shot away.
His fingers slipped off the trigger, Steve. Poor Travis. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to angle the stick back and get it upstairs, but caught only a small part of the puck.
No, well executed by the Devils, and now back in the Carolina zone. Picked up here by Zubras. Holds behind the net. Tynes works it back to the point. Here's John Merrill. Wrist shot through traffic. That's blocked away in front. Zajac with the net presence there. Here's Howard trying to maneuver in front, but taken away by the Canes. Gerby is able to help chip it out to center. Devils have momentum here on these last few shifts, needing a goal to get back in the hockey game. Yager, centering try. Gobbled up by Ward at the side of the net. And as he covers up, we'll step aside. 11:51 to go in regulation time.
Two teams trading some chances recently. Here's Dwyer, who scored at a 5-hole earlier. Look at how Brodeur shuts the door on that one, gets that paddle down. And then at the other end, Devils trying to fight back. Look at 19 in front. He's all alone. Oh, what happens? Look at this overhead. Look at Travis. He's got it. He wants to shoot up in here. But in his anxiety, Steve, he missed the puck. And look at Trav. He knows it all. He just tried to do it so quick. He kind of went over the biscuit, and it just slithered off into the corner. Oh, my.
One chapter of the frustration tonight for the Devils. They've scored once on 16 shots against Ward, who's had a good game. Played back towards the point. Andy Green fires it back in. In the corner, Elias. Work back to the point. Here's Andy Green. He fires and scores! Slap shot by Andy Green. And it's a 4-2 game.
Well, defensemen tonight have been very instrumental in the scoring. And this time here, the Devils, this line here has been -3. Not all their own fault, but Elias now gets a hard pass back to Andy Green. And there you see Cam Ward. He doesn't see this puck. And Steve Bernier again. I don't think he'll get an assist. But Bernier goes with Falk in front. So they come together, Steve, and then the goalie has no chance to see it, and Andy with a beautiful shot. But what he did, he got it up over the pad. You don't want to put it on the ice from the point on those plays because the goalie's going to go in a butterfly. Get it up over that pad. That's exactly what Green did.
Let's see what this does for the Devils. They've controlled most of this third period. Glove down near the blue line by Zidlitsky. Delayed offside call and Stahl. Eric works it away towards Gerby. So this is a 2-point night for Andy Green, a goal and an assist.
His third of the season, assisted by number 26, Patrick Elias.
Elias, the primary assist for the Devils.
And number 18, Steve Bernier.
Oh, good. Steve got an assist. He deserved it because he set the screen.
Here's Billmore behind his net. Two Devils in deep. New Jersey with 10.5 minutes now to score 2 and try to level a hockey game. But picked up here by Bowman, who backhands one in deep. Harold feathers it around. Back to Dvorak. That deflects off a Devil's stick for a stoppage in play. Coming up, the Foxwoods Final Five. Foxwoods, your destination for endless excitement.
Dvorak just shanked that. And here's the goal again. This is the third long-range slapper from the defense. Falk got a clean one for the Hurricanes. Then at the deflection by Hainsey, and there another clean one by Andy Green. You think of Yager hitting the crossbar. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the Devils deserve to be ahead, but they deserve more than the 2 goals. In terms of the chances they've created tonight, there's been some fat rebounds they haven't gotten to. They've missed some close-in passes. We saw Zajac miss a wide-open chance from the edge of the crease. It's not like the chances to score haven't been there.
Now Zubris deep in the Carolina zone. Yager trying to take control. Got a shot away, but it trickled wide. Dvorak takes this for the Hurricanes and plays it across for Bowman. Better than halfway through period 3. Devils back within 2. Zajac pushes this into the Carolina zone. Nice move around Falk. Backhand try, and that just went wide. Picked up here by Green. Tries to throw one across. Deflects back to Fane at the point. His shot. Save made by Ward. The rebound is there, and he's got it.
Defense firing away. They come close again. Let's take a look at some of tonight's Timberland Pro hard hits of the game. Patrick Dwyer, he's no patsy tonight. He's been in the middle of everything there. He knocks down Andy Green, but you know, when you give it, sometimes you got to take it. Here's Sekera being rubbed out by Cam Jansen. And now it's Dwyer's turn to feel a hit as Steve Bernier rocks him into the boards. So the Devils hitting, shooting, and they've scored the last goal. Coming on, fans are up, they're all ripped. Ready to go with Thanksgiving tomorrow. Steve, they got lots of energy left. They're hoping their team does as well.
The draw, controlled by Henrique. Scramble for the puck, goes back to the point. Jelena able to punch it in and hold the zone for the Devils. Belmore works it free, and Ruutu got a stick on it. Jelena back to collect here for New Jersey. Well, again, this is a team that's had the better of the play in the third period of each of the two previous losses. They're out shooting Carolina 6-3 here in the third tonight. Trying to climb out of what was a 3-goal hole. Steered into the zone by Bernier. Chopping at the loose puck is Adam Henrique. Two Devils in deep. Back to his skates, Hainsey. Controlled by Henrique. Walks it back to the point. Here's Jelena. Couldn't handle the pass cleanly. Has to just play it in deep. Bernier takes a check. Elias is knocked down and skated away by Carolina as Gerby dumps in. Dwyer on the forecheck all over Marek Zidlitsky. Puck taken here by Jordan Staal. Centering try, and the one-time shot by Talusti went wide. Off Tedenby's stick, and the puck came out of the zone on an offside call.
Well, I know on the Canes bench, they're saying don't sit back. Don't start going into a sag defense, just playing defensively. And for the Devils, Steve, they're doing such a good job down low. It's causing the Hurricanes, who now are afraid of giving up this lead, for the forwards to come down and help out defensively. But that's opening up the Devils' defensemen, and the Devils have been using those opportunities very well. But it starts with some cycling down in the Carolinas' end of things. But, you know, again, we've seen this a lot of times. Devils start going in the third, and then it's just, do they have enough time? Are they going to run out of time before they can get back tied?
Off the draw, Tedenby tried to punch it in. Instead, met by Carolina at the blue line, and now John Merrill gives to Ryder, who dumps in. Bouncing puck, Tedenby trying to get on this. Ryder following up. Josephson trying to find the loose puck as well. Give it here to Matthias Tedenby. Josephson throws it behind the net. Murphy collects here for Carolina. Took a hit from Tedenby. Good forecheck by this unit. Trying to get the Devils within one. But skated away here by the 20-year-old rookie Ryan Murphy, who fires it in off Harold. Harold sends it to center. The Zajac line is out again. We'll see a lot of them here in these final 7.5 minutes. Falk winds it around. Dvorak met by Andy Green. Puck jawed loose. Yager keeps it in the zone. Zajac takes here for the Devils. He's knocked down on the play. Loose puck, and it's a foot race. Andy Green gets there before Bowman does. Plays it ahead. Picked up here by Zubris. Yager over the line. Tried to throw one across, and Zajac got a stick on it, but that's all. Fane for Zajac. Able to pick up Yager. Beautiful move. Jaromir Yager tries to split two defenders, and it's knocked away.
And he took the helmet off Sakura. And you know what, Steve? He did it on purpose. I like the fire in that number 68.
Shades of 1997, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Green ahead for Adam Henrique, but the puck taken away. Controlled here by Eric Staal. He just stops, fires, and it's blocked away by Henrique. Fane banks it off glass. Hainsey can't hold the zone. He's muscled by Bernier. Ruutu for Gerby. And offside is the call here. Devils fans, be sure to stay tuned for the Devils postgame presented by Esurance. Devin Dano with the game highlights, stats, Dano's reaction, locker room reaction, and much more coming up.
Well, the Devils are working hard, and here you're going to see. Now, Yager's just dangled through a few. Now, look at here. He could give up on this, but watch what he does here. Oh, just rip that helmet off this guy. I would have maybe scored a goal if it wasn't for him, but you like that, right? That shows intensity.
Punched into the zone by Murphy.
The fact that he was Slovak and Yager's check had nothing to do with that. Little rivalry between those two countries.
Okay, let's not draw conclusions. Over the line, it's Ryder taken here into the corner by Murphy once again. Banks it out of the zone, and Zidlitsky is back. Marek, long pass up the center of the ice. It got by Loktionov, and this is an icing call against the Devils.
There's another check. You know, we've been going around the league, and there's a lot of good Czech-born players who will be eligible for the Olympic team. And as I'm watching, you know, they're strong on goal. They've got some good defense. I think they're going to be the dark horse in the Olympics this year.
Patrick Elias certainly to be part of that team with Jágr.
Yeah, we saw Pavelec the other night. He's going to be a formidable opponent. The goaltender for Winnipeg, who, I don't know if he's playing tonight, Steve. I just saw the out-of-town score. Winnipeg doing well on the island again. Last I saw, anyway.
All the Metropolitan teams are in action tonight. Bernier shoots off a stick of Hainsey. That came dangerously in front of Ward, who will hold on. No shots for the Hurricanes in the last 10 minutes, but they lead 4-2.
Our turning point of the game is brought to you by Lexus, continuing the pursuit of perfection. And here you see the Devils in good shape. They got all their men back defensively, and then this shot was probably gone wide. Look at Patrick Ellis throwing his head back. Patrick now would look back and say, why didn't I leave that alone? Now, he scored a goal the last game against Winnipeg identically to that play, only it was Andy Green shooting the puck. This time it was Ron Hainsey, so it goes against Patrick and his team. But the Devils have had some good chances. There's 5 minutes to get a couple.
John Merrill back to collect this. Darts away from Grayson Bowman, but the Hurricanes send it back in deep. Bowman tries to shake loose of Elias. Collected instead by Harold. Devils need 2 to tie. Played out to center. Henrique trying to get on it. Battling for the loose puck is Bernier. But sent right back in by Radek Dvorak. At the start of play tonight, any one of 5 teams could have claimed 3rd place in the Metropolitan Division, including the 2 we're watching now. Jágr tries to play it across. Collected here by Zajac. Got a shot away, and it's just eaten up by Cam Ward. You're watching the Foxwoods Final 5. Foxwoods, your destination for endless excitement. Visit foxwoods.com now.
Nice spinorama there by Travis Zajac. A couple guys who would like to be down there, Steve, trying to help out their squad would be these 2 guys. There you see Steven Gionta on the right, Ryan Clough on the left. Volchenkov also out of the lineup, who he told me this morning, Steve, he's been practicing. The problem is the team haven't had full practices. They came back from the West Coast, had a couple days off. Today's just a morning skate. Tomorrow probably won't be anything too strenuous.
Back to the point. Andy Green gets a shot away, and it's blocked in front. Collected here by the Hurricanes. Belmore lays it ahead, and Tuomo Ruutu sends it into the Devils zone. Just over 4 minutes to play. Rangers with a 2-0 lead in their game after 2 against Florida. Picked up here by Eric Staal. Shot save made by Brodeur to keep the Devils alive. Andy Green picks up Zajac at center. Drops it for Jágr. Jaromir Jágr maneuvers, shoots, and it's deflected wide.
I think Hainsey dove, Steven, got his stick on it. Nice play by Jágr.
Sent behind goal. Jágr again. Maneuvers away from Jordan Staal. Tries to throw one in front for Zubras.
See what Hainsey did? He hit the ice. He knows Jágr's so good at passing through defenders that he actually went down on the ice with his knees so it wouldn't go through him or under him.
This goes all the way back into the New Jersey end. It's icing with 3:21 to go.
Well, a frantic finish here. Zajac, Zubras, and Jágr coming close again. Jaromir jumped to the middle, Steve. It looked very promising. And then I think it was Ron Hainsey dove, and he wasn't able to get his shot on net for a rebound or a tip.
Pete DeBoer will try Ryder with Josephson and Tedenby here. And off the draw, Sedlitsky takes the puck. Checked by Jordan Staal. Ryder behind the net. Marek Sedlitsky's got it. Reverses course. Josephson trying to come off the boards with it. Puck jarred loose to the stick of Patrick Dwyer, who darts back the other way. Partial change here for the Hurricanes. It's knocked off Dwyer's stick, and now Tedenby lost control in his own end and given away to Malhotra. And Harrison fires in on the delayed offside. Devils need to work quickly now. Down 2 with 2:45 to play. And here's Peter Harold for New Jersey. Darts away from Malhotra, gives to Bernier. Lays it across. Henrique Throws it behind goal, picks up Elias off the backboard, throws one in front, deflects off a skate, drop back to the point. Walking in is Merrill, he shoots and it's blocked away. Yager throws it in front. Henrique with the backhand try, and Ward has got it!
It's in the glove, and 3 Devils, Steve, had their hands on top of their head, and Cam Ward, just brilliant here. Watch this, reach. He gets it off the ice. You know, as a shooter and as a goalie, there's a guessing game going on. Like, is he going to put it on the ice or are you going to try and go up? Now there, if Henrique shoots it on the ice, it's in because Cam guesses high. If he puts it on the ice, then it's going to be a goal. Oh, Cam Ward. Steve, he made a stick save. We showed at the top of the show against Ottawa a game-turning save with the end of a stick. Now he does it on the other side with his glove. Oh my goodness, the Devils are having tough luck right now.
2 of the best saves you're going to see all week, certainly, and 2 of the best of the year, maybe. Devils remain with the 2-goal deficit. Elias works the puck free along the near boards. Zajac and Henrique and Yager on as well, with the goal net now empty. Marty Brodeur to the bench. Pushed out to center, and Yager plays this back for Travis Zajac. Elias takes the puck at center. Carolina changes, and now Elias over the line. Plays it across and picks up Shelina. His shot, it's loose in front, they score! Jaromir Yager on a second rebound try, and don't go anywhere. It's a 4-3 game.
One big reason why this goal is scored, because of one big snapping wrist shot by number 22. Now Jelina's coming off the bench. Now Patrick sees, hey, they're giving me the blue line. I'll take it. But this shot is so hard, Steve. Look at Ward. He gets his mid on it. But when you shoot it like Jelina does, that puck is rotating and spinning at a high velocity, and it spins right out of the glove of Jelina. Good play by Elias, though, to take the blue line when it was given to him. And now we got a game, another goal by the Devils when their goalie was on the bench.
4th time they've done it this year, Chico. Now Jelina darts out of his own zone and plays it ahead for Michael Ryder. Punched in, Brodeur to the bench a second straight time. Puck winds around the boards, work free. Trying to keep it in the zone is Zidlitsky. Marek Zidlitsky at the line. Devils have to get back on side. It's gloved down by Belmore and played ahead out of the reach of Grayson Bowman.
Oh, they're waving this off.
No icing. Lokdianov delivers a check. And taken by Ryder. 1:05 to go. Elias to center. Over the Carolina line. Puck deflected up high. Belmore, or rather Falk, plays it down with the glove and backhands it out of the zone. Green across for Merrill. Quickly played ahead for Elias. He can't control. Chipped out of the zone by Justin Falk, but picked up here by Zajac. Gives here to Yager. Zajac following up. Carolina meets the Devils at the line. Eric Stahl can't get it out of the zone, but now it deflects away, and Elias has to buy some time. Merrill fires in. 35 ticks of the clock left. Big check by Henrique in the corner. Puck jarred loose. Battling for the puck in the corner is Elias. It comes here to Zajac. Tries to work it back to the point. Under pressure. Green trying to hold the zone frantically, but it comes out to center. Zajac quickly over the line. Dishes off and finds Yager. Jaromir Yager tries to throw one across. Now shoots through traffic. Blocked away in front. Taken here by Dwyer, who punches it out to center. 7 seconds left. The long pass for Elias. Tries to throw it across for Yager. Carolina gets in the way of that, and the final seconds tick away, and again the Devils on the wrong end of a 1-goal hockey game.
Well, there's a game saver. Brilliant stop by Cam Ward. Earlier off Henrique. Yager with the late goal brought him within 1. Remember, Yammer hit the crossbar in the second. Devils gave up a power play goal. I mean, a shorthanded goal. They were on the power play. Those 2 things, as you look back now, actually those 3 things, Steve, the difference in this hockey game. Saved by Ward, a shorthander the Devils give up, and Yager hitting the crossbar. And boy, I got to tell you, Steve, the Devils got to really be frustrated now. And they head right back to Carolina for Friday night. These 2 teams will meet again. But tonight's goal of the game is brought to you by Nissan. This holiday season, get big savings at Nissan's Season to Choose. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And that Patrick Dwyer, for me, might have been the star of the game. He was all over the ice. He was out there at the last minute protecting the lead, and he got this shorthanded goal through a nice forehand, backhand, slipping it through the legs of Brodeur. He also had a fight off that slapping stick coming at him, but there he gets it off the ice and finds the smallest of openings for our Nissan goal of the game.
It will be a footnote to the end result. Jaromir Jagr does pass Mario Lemieux, now 9th all-time in the history of NHL goal scorers with the 691st of his career. We'll see you Friday from Carolina. The Esurance Devils post-game show is coming up next.